what is the Tremper Longman story, and how did you get from growing up? It sounds like your family is originally from New York, and then you became an Old Testament scholar. I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah, so the family, yeah, is an old New York family, but I was born in Princeton, New Jersey. So first one born
Okay.
outside of New York, which is close to New York. But then my father married my mother, who I guess that is obvious. But my mother, my mother was from Columbus, Ohio. So we moved to Columbus, Ohio. And I had a best friend starting in eighth grade named Dan Allender. Some people will know who Dan Allender is, the counselor, psychologist.
Yeah.
But back then he was just a reprobate. Well, I mean, so was I. We weren't Christians in eighth grade. So, but this is back in the late 60s, early 70s during the so-called Jesus Revolution. So, and we played for the local high school football team, and we just celebrated just before COVID hit. We had a celebration of the 50th anniversary of our winning the state championship for the third time in a row.
Wow.
The state of Ohio, third in the nation. So we had.
Wow.
What was interesting about that too was how many of our teammates had become Christians, and the fact that on this particular team, more than 50% of us had PhDs or MDs or something like that. It was
Wow.
so that was kind of interesting. But I mentioned the football team because there was a young local Baptist pastor who kind of befriended the team and came and worked out with us, and he wanted to work out, but in retrospect, obviously he was befriending us to share the gospel, which we thank God that he did. And I became a Christian at that time. Oh, also another thing, a girlfriend gave me a copy of The Late Great Planet Earth. And as I say now, which was a very popular book back then, but as I say now, I disowned the hermeneutics, but he got the main point right, which is Jesus is coming back again, and you better be on the right side of that divide. By the way, I just finished a commentary on Revelation that's coming out in April. But so I became a Christian, but already going to Ohio Wesleyan University, small liberal arts college. I wasn't much of an academic. I think I was a C student. I wanted to play football, and I did play football up at Ohio Wesleyan Small School for a while. But at that time, I had become a Christian, and other people were becoming Christian. So we got a Christian fellowship going, and the second year, I met a woman named Alice, and Alice had just become a Christian too, through the ministry of some Westminster Theological Seminary students, including now famous New Testament scholar Andrew Lincoln, who was a student at Westminster at the time, and there were other interesting students at Westminster at that generation, like Wayne Grudem and Jim Hurley and Dick Keyes and a bunch of people. So just to mention that because when I met Alice, she had just come from L'Abri, where they told her you have to go to L'Abri to learn about the faith, and so she studied with Francis and Edith Schaefer, and Oz Guinness was there. Matter of fact, the day she arrived, Oz was getting married to Jenny, and so.
Wow.
So in any case, so when I met Alice, she basically, I've said this to John Eldridge, by the way, Wild at Heart John Eldridge, with his picture of the Christian man as kind of a rancher sweeping women off their feet. I said, not in my case. I said, in my case, my wife's model of a Christian man was a PhD in biblical studies. So my average went from a C to, I think I never got anything under an A after that, because
Nice.
she wouldn't make out with me unless I studied for it. So thus I become an academic, and as my mother always said, I do things to death. So and I loved studying, and And so then I went off to Westminster Seminary to teach. I mean, not to teach, to study, get my MDiv, but with the hope that I'd go into an academic ministry, and met Ray Dillard, a young Old Testament scholar, very charismatic, and he just got me very excited about the Old Testament. So he encouraged me to go off to graduate school. I went to Yale, did my doctorate, and afterwards he hired me back at Westminster, where I stayed for 18 years. 15 of the best years of my life. But then I went to Westmont College, where I taught 19 years as the Robert Gundry Professor of Biblical Studies. And I redeployed in 2017 so we could move back east to be close to our kids and grandkids.
So what state are you in now?
We live in Alexandria, Virginia, right across the river from Washington. So two of my sons and their family are here in the DC area, and another one's down in Charlotte.
Okay, so it's a lot closer. So yeah. I mean, going from Philadelphia to Westmont, that had been quite a change.
Yeah, it was really tough to get used to that always sunny 72-degree weather with the mountains and the ocean both a mile away, and
suffering for the Lord.
We love Philadelphia. We really do. And we love Santa Barbara, which is where Westmont is. And then we love Alexandria, Virginia. It's a very interesting place.
And how long have you been there? About 4 years, you said?
Yeah, about 4 years. 4 years,
okay.
Yeah. And I'm still teaching a lot. As a matter of fact, as I told you yesterday, I just finished grading 90 exams from Westmont College while teaching hybrid, and I'm on the board of trustees there. And so but I also taught a course for Missio Seminary, and I'm teaching a course with my friend Dan Allender at the Seattle School in a couple months. And so I'm
busy guy.
Busy, yeah.